Soaring Without Limits Enterprises presents the Triple E Podcast, a show dedicated to empowering women to elevate, expand, and explore their mindsets. I am your host, Monique Pearson, best-selling author, mindset coach, international speaker, and travelologist. Are you ready to transform your life? Join us monthly for inspiring stories and actionable tips so that you can soar without limits. Well, good evening, good morning, depending on what time you all watch this. I would like to welcome you to the Triple E Podcast. I am your host, Monique Pearson, and on the Triple E Podcast, we are here to help you elevate, expand, and explore your mindset. I am so happy that you can join us. And if you are just visiting us and you have not hit that subscribe button, please make sure that you do so. Go ahead and join us and not shack up and become a part of the Triple E family. So I am super excited, as I am every episode, to bring forth our latest guest. I'm telling you, you are going to be enthralled. She is a rock star, and I'm so happy that she took the time out of her schedule to join us here on the Triple E Podcast. So I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a brief introduction, and without further ado, I will bring her forth to join us. So Miss Maureen Edwards is an award-winning entrepreneur, branding and marketing expert, and a business strategist who has founded you heard me correct, 6 successful companies and earned over 30 industry awards. So she is definitely a subject matter expert in what she does. As the founder of Ingennicom Communications, she empowers businesses to drive revenue, build sustainability, and embrace innovation. Maureen specializes in AI integration, and you all know that that is a hot topic right now, offering workshops and speaking engagements that help organizations and professionals harness AI to future-proof their income, careers, and long-term goals. Her programs simplify complex concepts and deliver practical, results-driven strategies tailored to real-world needs. A Wharton University digital media and AI advanced prompt engineer instructor, Maureen is also a sought-after keynote speaker and media guest. Her insights equip leaders to stay competitive and ahead of the curve in today's fast-paced, evolving digital landscape. So without further ado, help me welcome Maureen Edwards to the stage.
Hi,
Hello,
Monique.
Maureen. How are you?
I am good. How are you?
I am fabulous, super excited to chat with you and drop all those golden nuggets, which I'm sure you're going to be sharing with our audience. So thank you for coming on. We're so happy to have you on the Triple E Podcast.
Thank you for asking me to be here. I really appreciate it.
Oh, wonderful. So we will not pause any further and jump right into it. So Maureen, you have founded that is all 6 successful companies in all the awards that you have won over the years. Let's take it back to the beginning and share with the audience a little bit more of who you are and what inspired your entrepreneur journey. And during all that time, what are some of those key lessons that have shaped your success?
Well, I have to tell you, Monique, I was a corporate girl all the way. I loved dressing in business suits, motivating my team. Being an entrepreneur was never on my radar. Uh,
Hmm.
but I actually had an aha moment and accidentally, invented a product. And that's usually how products are invented. We kind of stumble over those things. And
Mhm.
it was one of those moments where you have to say to yourself, do I take the risk and leave the comfy environment with that steady paycheck?
Mm.
Um, or do I jump and regret this forever if I don't do it? Right. And
Right.
so I decided to take the risk and I leveraged my 401k, my kids' college education, and even my house to set up a manufacturing facility in India
Hmm.
and take this pet product, this invention, to full commercialization. Uh, and I have to tell you, I made every mistake imaginable. I was really, really good at some things and really, really bad at others.
Right.
Um, and I almost lost everything, like everything. I was your typical entrepreneur today that um, that does things that they shouldn't, right?
Mm,
That doesn't listen when they should. Um, and when I was able to turn it around, it became incredibly successful. And I was able to sell that company in 3 years. And it allowed me to be very thoughtful about what my next steps would be. And those next steps would be full-time entrepreneurship. And it allowed me to build 5 more companies. And that set the stage for a whole new life, a whole new
wow.
life. Now
That
I
is
could,
awesome, Maureen.
yeah.
What are some, if now in hindsight 2020, going back to the start of you building that first business, what are some of those key lessons that you learned that you would share with another entrepreneur who is now deciding whether or not to leave that steady paycheck, as you mentioned, and bet on themselves and step out there that can possibly save them from walking into those same entrapments?
The first one is make sure you get help immediately. Make sure
Mhm.
you hire a coach, you hire a consultant, you join a community, you find somebody who knows a heck of a lot more than you do at running a business,
Mhm.
or you fill in the gaps that somebody knows something that you don't. So, a good example is I came from a marketing and branding background.
Mhm.
I was brilliant at that. Okay, let's
Mhm.
call it what it is. I was in my lane. So you stay in your lane of brilliance. But what I was really bad at was operations. Terrible
Mm,
at setting up a factory, warehousing, the operations, the inner aspects of running a business. I was
right.
terrible at it. But you can't run a business without being really good at that. Okay. You
Mhm.
can't ship to 1,200 stores who are waiting for product without being good at logistics, right?
Wow.
No revenue coming in. And yet I thought I could do it all. Nobody was going to tell me anything. And there is no such thing as ego in business. So hire somebody who's better at something that you can't do,
Well, you heard it
period.
first. Stay in your lane of genius and outsource to the other geniuses in their respective lanes. But thank you for sharing that, Maureen, because I think initially a lot of us entrepreneurs start off as team me, myself, and I, and that quickly leads to burnout. And as you said, being and spending your time outside of your genius where you should be staying within your respective lane. So that was great advice that you gave there.
And you know
So
what,
I know, oh,
Monique?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
You know what? I just want to say that by the time I reached out for help, I remember saying to somebody, and it was a consultant, a mentor that I finally reached out to for help.
Mhm.
And the first thing I said, I'm sorry, I can't afford you. Because that's what people will say. I'm sorry, I can't afford to hire you. And the guy looked at me and he said, you can't afford not to.
Not to. I knew that was coming next.
He
Right.
said, you're going down. And it's
Mm,
funny. You find the money when your house is on the line. And if it
right.
wasn't for that, where would I be? Certainly not selling it 3 years later to be able to
Mm,
go ahead and build 5 more. So people
wow.
out there need to really say, how important is this?
Mm.
Right.
That's another nugget that you say as far as
Yeah.
weighing out where will you be if you don't? Because you already see the trajectory of where you're going.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, what matters. So I know you said far as your niche and one of your lanes is in AI. So, can you share with us what are some of those biggest misconceptions about AI and share some ways how entrepreneurs can effectively leverage it to future proof their businesses?
I think the biggest thing is that it's hard. And this fear of technology. And I think that for people who are hesitant, fearful, hoping it's a fad and it's going to go away, I always say to them, did the internet go away? Because I think that
Mm,
same feeling that people
right,
had when Google came out, you know, is the same that they're feeling about AI. What's all the buzz, right?
right.
And I'm here to say that this is like electricity. When electricity was discovered and it changed the universe, right?
Wow.
This is the same. And so it's not going anywhere. It will infiltrate every aspect of your life. Right now, it's
Mm,
doing it within your workplace or your
mhm,
business. It has not quite integrated itself into your home, but it will. So it is the fourth industrial revolution, but it's even bigger than that. So I'm saying to everybody out there, don't
mhm,
have the fear. It's much simpler than, I say, even working social media. And I don't think people
mm,
believe me. Because Monique, I just went to a networking event and
right.
I said to them, you know, what I did, and I could see the glaze over their face. And these
Oh,
were
wow.
business owners. I could see the glaze. Like they didn't even know quite where to put it. And yet I talked about it in very simple terms, not in features, but in the benefits of what it can do for them. Drive more revenue, give them
Mm,
more time back in their business to get more clients. I didn't tell them how I was going to do it. I was
right.
going to tell them what it was going to do for them. And it's like a wall goes up. And I'm saying to everybody out there, start opening your mind and embracing it. So when you ask me kind of what, you know, what is holding people back, I think it's just like this fear that it's going to be hard.
So, how do you help them to get over that fear? I'm sure you've had to help numerous people who came in with the fear of the unknown, the unfamiliar. What is some of that groundwork that you do to help them be able to open up and see more so the benefits versus the fear?
Well, you know, I've always said the hardest company to
Mhm.
create, and this is an extension of my sixth company. So Ingennicom is an extension of my agency that is a branding, marketing, and business strategy company. So
Okay.
this is an extension of that. And I always say the hardest company to create is a company that you're first to market on. Now, I'm not the visionary and the creator of AI. All I am is a messenger to be able to help people. But it's the
Hmm.
need behind the need that nobody knows they need until you come along and try and tell them about it and educate them. And so it's a frustrating company to build because it takes more time, more
Hmm.
resources, more money, so much more education, and so you feel like you're banging your head up against a wall and screaming, don't you see what it can do, right? And so today I had my partner with me, and she goes, I took one of Maureen's workshops when I first met her, and I built my entire book right in the workshop, and I published it literally when I left. All of a sudden people there could see an aha moment. You mean you wrote a book in the workshop? So it was almost like, should
Mm.
I have a partner with me and drag them along
You got to have your
at
own
every
little
event?
infomercials. Some of your clients from different lanes that can testify to
Yeah,
how they were able to make it work for them. I think that testimonials do make a big impact.
yeah. But do
Hmm.
I have to do that at every turn? So I'm still myself trying to
Hmm.
work out the messaging on this. Um, to like, how do I reach you? And
Mm.
even saying this is as easy as working your Facebook page and giving them the specifics. Like you can write a blog in 30 seconds. You can write an
Mhm.
email in 30 seconds. And giving them specifics like that, I almost don't think they believe it.
Oh, wow. Well, I guess the proof is in the pudding, and you have plenty of proof that you can illustrate to them that is true. If they'll be willing to open up and be able to try it, so to speak. But I like how you put that as far as this is as big as when electricity came and everything that we've never experienced before, as far as we're used to staying in our comfort zones. And if we be willing to come outside of our comfort zones, that's when we have our growth spurts. So hopefully it gets easier for people to be able to be willing to listen, to try to receive, and focus on the benefits versus the apprehensions and the fears.
But I think it's hard, Monique, for people to get out of their comfort zones, right? I mean,
Mm,
they're in their business, they're in the groove, they have a successful business, right? Like when you're moving, shaking, making things happen, things seem to be good, you're maybe beating the competitors. You don't necessarily think of the next, right? It's just much easier to get caught up in the day to day and thinking about the macro. It takes a very special entrepreneur, a very special business owner. It's the visionary that
mhm.
stays ahead and gets the competitive edge. And I'm saying to people out there, you need to be a visionary today if you're going to be here tomorrow.
There you
And
go.
I think that's hard for business owners, whether you're a small one, and it isn't just the small ones. I'm seeing it in even big corporate America. They don't
Hmm.
know how to bring on like a chief technology officer in AI. They're even saying, I just don't know where to put them. I just don't know what I don't know. I don't know where they would fit. So
Mm,
even they are struggling with
mhm.
this.
So, what would you share with some of those companies that are struggling with that, as far as how to maneuver in those spaces and to move forward and to get clarity as to how they can do that?
Well, one, I think I can understand because AI is moving so quickly.
Hmm.
I don't think anybody can call themselves an expert in this because expert to me means that you are all knowing, right?
Right.
Expert to me means that there's no more to learn. For me, I think we're all specialists and we have expertise maybe in it, but we
Hmm.
are having to literally learn by the hour. I'm having to
Right.
update things. There's a new platform here, a new platform there. One's gone bankrupt and it's out. And then it is so difficult to keep up with it. So, in a way, I can understand that they don't have clarity on it and it moves too quickly. So, it may be too overwhelming. So, they don't know what to
Mm,
do with it. So, what I have, my advice would be if you think it's going to get any clearer tomorrow, I'm going to tell you it's not. So, you better just jump in and
mm,
ride the wave and we work it out together. So it's probably the same advice realtors are giving to first time home buyers. If you
right.
think prices are going to come down anytime soon, they probably aren't. So you
Right.
better just buy one now, get into it, right? And you can always refi later, but
There you go. Maureen said, just jump in head first with both feet and
and
just
work with it. Yeah.
take
Because
it from there.
it's just going to be changing and changing anyway. But if you don't get into it now, you will be left behind later. So just
Hmm.
do it and see the amazing benefits that will transform your company and will continue as we go.
Well, I know you just alluded to that it's constantly changing very quickly, but what are some key AI driven trends that professionals should be paying attention to right now? Even though we know they may be
Oh.
subject to change, but what can you share right now?
Well, there are so many trends in the sense that one, there's so many sections of AI. So, of course, the language models are the big ones. We use it so much in copy. So, of course, ChatGPT is the big one that everybody
Hmm.
hears about. And for anybody who's a beginner who is just dabbling in it, I say just start there. Okay, that's the
Hmm.
simplest way to go. But you also have Copy AI, you have Jasper. You have Gemini. I mean, the list goes on and on. There's also voice recognition ones. There are
Mhm.
image creators. There are video ones. There's search. So there are buckets of different platforms that you can use. A lot of them have to be paid for.
Mhm.
ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude. Uh, a lot of them are free.
Okay.
Okay. So you can start with the free ones and then see what your needs are. But when I tell you there are like hundreds and hundreds of platforms and more coming out, that's where I
Mhm.
think it gets overwhelming. So I say start very, very simply and then see what
Mhm.
your needs are. So that right there, when I say a trend, the trend is that there are more and more coming out. So
Right.
find out what your business needs are, what is working for you. And the trend for me, my advice is to start slow and then go and move forward. Um, but the biggest things I see is that these companies just keep wanting to upgrade and make it better and make it better. And sometimes that gets annoying. And a good example is ChatGPT just upgraded their entire image creator, and
Mhm.
the image generator just totally crashed.
Oh
I mean,
wow.
so many people jumped on it that none of the images could be created for days and days. We just couldn't get anything. So I'm saying you are trying to evolve too quickly and be everything to everybody. So I
Mm.
say, why don't you take a step back and, really perfect what you have, right?
Right.
So they want to move even faster. And so that's a trend. They're constantly adding features and more features. And so I say shut out all the noise,
Mhm.
because when you get too much, I don't know if you feel like this, Monique, but when you have so much coming at you, don't you feel like you shut down and
I
don't
think
do
it's like
any of it?
option paralysis. For me, I equate that
Yeah.
when I go to a restaurant and the menu is 50 million
Yes.
pages long. Like I am overwhelmed that there's too many choices. I don't need that many. So I
Yes.
can relate it to something similar as that.
Yes. And so I feel like the trends, it's just there are too many choices. So
Mhm.
what I'm saying is you be your own trend, right? You
Right.
do you do what's best for you. You go at your own pace, because what I'm afraid of is that you will shut down and not do anything, because I think that's a normal reaction, because the trend in AI is that they're going to overwhelm you,
Mhm.
because they're overwhelming us as specialists. They're overwhelming us to want to embrace every single platform. I subscribe to 6, 7 newsletters from the top gurus of stuff, and it's bombarding. It's every day that I get these newsletters, 6 and 7 of them with all these updates. And I'm like,
Oh
oh my
wow.
gosh. Yeah.
Mm. There's no way to
I don't
keep
know
up
if
with.
that's a trend, Monique, if you're looking for that, but I could probably stay here all day and talk about stuff and read them off.
Mm. Okay, choice paralysis. Well, I want to do a slight little segue because I you also mentioned far as branding and marketing, which I know is always something that us as entrepreneurs are interested in. So, how can a business create a brand identity that stands out but also maintains relevancy?
Well, the first thing you have to do, even before you build your company, is create your brand. And there's a difference between branding and marketing. People skip the brand, I know, and they go to the marketing. And let me explain the difference, because this
Okay.
will go into your question. Branding involves a few things first, and branding helps marketing do its job. So
Hmm.
you first have to have the right target audience, and not a broad target audience. It has to be very niche, because when you serve everybody, you serve nobody.
Yeah.
Okay. You become relevant to nobody. They check
Hmm.
out. So if you want to be relevant, choose your target audience very, very carefully and very, very niche. All right.
Hmm.
After that, I want you to really think very deeply about how you change somebody's life with your product
Hmm.
or your service. What
Mm-hmm.
is your true value to them, and not features? Okay. Nobody woke up that day and wanted to know how you did something for them. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What they really wanted to know is how you changed their life for the better.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's what they wanted to know. They didn't know how, they don't care how you do it. They want to know what the outcome is for them. And so
Right.
most people sell their service or their product based on a feature. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
A good example is somebody even today at a networking event talked about all the amazing ingredients she had in her product, about sugar, uh, and some organic ingredient. And nobody woke up that day and said, I need some skincare today that has some sugar and some root agrulus, and nobody cared.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted skincare that really, said, I really have some itchy skin and I need this taken care of because my skin feels really dull and it's not looking very good. That's what they wanted. That's the true value in a skincare product.
Right.
So you see the difference. That's what's
Yeah.
relevant to them. And the other thing then is messaging. It needs to be my 5 C's: clear, concise, consistent, compelling, and customer centric. So if you
Mm-hmm.
can pull a message out that really speaks to somebody
Mm-hmm.
and gives a competitive differentiator, how do you compete with that competitor? You're on your way. You hand all of that over to marketing. Marketing comes up with some really great strategies and tactics and uses all that to build a website, social media, ideas, platforms. Then you stay relevant and you do it consistently. And that's how you build a brand that people become familiar with. They get to know you, they get to like you, they get to trust you, and then they advocate for you.
Wonderful. Well, Maureen, with all that you've shared with us, I'm sure there's going to be some listeners who would love to get more and find out more about you or possibly work with you. Where can they contact you? Where can they connect with you at?
Well, if you would like to connect with me about AI solutions and empowerment, if you have you're in need of a workshop, you have a company, you have employees, you really want to get a good idea of how to streamline some of your tasks, become more productive, more efficient, be able to serve clients better, and to be able to get more clients, you can go to my website, which is ingennicom.com. Definitely let me know how we can help you there. There's also many, many services that we do at our agency as far as branding, marketing, and business strategy. So that will have everything there for you. You can also go to my LinkedIn profile. It's under Maureen Edwards. Because there's so many Maureen Edwardses out there. You'll never find me if you do that. And so go ahead and connect with me there. You can also send me a DM and let me know if you need anything.
Well, that's wonderful. We'll be sure to put all of Maureen's contact information in the show notes for you to circle back and follow. So, in closing, Maureen, what legacy do you hope to leave behind?
I think the biggest one that I have pretty much dedicated myself to, because I remember when I sought out a mentor who helped me so tremendously, help save my business. I always said, if I'm going to give back, I'm going to help entrepreneurs and build a company that
Mm-hmm.
gives back to them. And I also dedicate a lot of time to help entrepreneurs build their business and not make the mistakes that I did, and to be able to impact them and help them build their company and be successful by not making those mistakes or turn their business around and save them. I really hope
Mm-hmm.
that legacy in their mind, where they could say, I had somebody help me, I had somebody really make sure that I could fulfill my passion, because doing what you love is just non-negotiable. And that person really made a difference for me in doing what I love. And I'd like that to be my legacy, because I made a commitment that somebody helped me once save my
Mm-hmm.
business, and I hope I could do the same for somebody else.
Yes. Playing it for a concept. Well, we loved having you here on the Triple E podcast and all that you had to share. Definitely thankful. And I'm sure there'll be numerous listeners who will be coming to ask you even more about all you had to share today. So thank you again, Maureen, for coming on.
Thank you,
So
Monique,
that's,
for having me.
yes, it was a pleasure. So that concludes our episode for this month, guys. Make sure that you stay tuned, subscribe so you don't miss out on anything that's coming forth on the Triple E podcast as we continue to help you elevate, expand, and explore your mindset mentally, physically, spiritually, as well as financially. We'll see you next time.